My best friend's ex showed up at my door, and 3 days later, I was lying to him with her in my bed. I didn't know what I expected when Qley knocked that morning. Surprise, closure, some kind of cosmic joke. Whatever it was, it hit me like a brick, straight in the chest. She was leaning against the doorframe, that mischievous smirk plastered across her face, hair sunlit and slightly messy from the city breeze. "Hey," she said, tilting her head as though she hadn't just stepped into the hurricane she was about to create in my life. I froze, toast halfway in my hand, staring at her like a deer caught in headlights. Hey," I muttered, dropping the bread back into the toaster with a ping that sounded suspiciously like my heart skipping a beat. "Nice place," she said, walking in like she owned it. Her presence filled the room, a mix of perfume and confidence I wasn't ready for. Miles would love this kitchen. Did I ever tell you about the time I nearly set his microwave on fire? I laughed nervously, even though every instinct in me screamed to tell her to leave. She had this way of leaning casually against my counter, fingers brushing mine lightly, just enough to make me hyper-aware of every nerve ending. Dangerous, yes, but I couldn't stop myself from watching her. By that evening, Qley and I had somehow slipped into cooking together. It was harmless at first, chopping vegetables, stirring sauces, yet every brush of her hand against mine, every teasing glance, sent a thrill of guilt and anticipation coursing through me. "I didn't expect you to actually help," she said, flicking a carrot at me and laughing. "Yeah, well, I'm full of surprises," I replied, even though I could feel my stomach twisting with nerves. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, and yet I didn't stop. We laughed, we talked, the tension building in subtle, sharp little edges. Every glance carried something unspoken, a current of temptation that pulsed beneath the surface. Day 2 arrived too quickly. I was sitting at my desk at work, pretending to focus when my phone buzzed. "Qley, you free tonight? Just a quick visit. Promise." I knew it was a mistake the moment I considered saying yes, but I did, because the pull she had on me wasn't rational. By the time I opened the door, there she was, leaning casually on my balcony railing, city sunlight glinting off her hair, eyes sparkling with that unmistakable challenge. "I know you weren't expecting me," she said, voice teasing, yet soft enough to make my heart hammer. "I wasn't," I admitted, trying to keep my tone casual, though every part of me was aware of how wrong this was. She stepped closer, brushing against my shoulder lightly. It was innocent enough, but the electricity in the air made it anything but. I swallowed, knowing Miles was unaware, trusting, completely oblivious. By day 3, the tension was unbearable. Text, messages flew back and forth, full of flirty double meanings. Qley had a way of knowing exactly what to say, to make my heart race and my rational mind scream at me to stop. At work, I couldn't focus. Every time I thought about what had happened or what might happen again, guilt churned in my chest. I thought about Miles, loyal, dependable, completely unaware, and the betrayal we were dancing around. She would text, "See you later, if you're brave," and I would reply, "You're insane," but I meant it in more ways than one. Then it happened. My apartment door rattled, keys jingling, footsteps approaching. Miles. Qley's eyes gleamed with mischief. "Hide," she whispered. I panicked, shoving my phone and anything incriminating out of sight. Miles walked in humming, completely unaware, while Qley leaned casually on the counter, smirking at the chaos we were creating. "You're really enjoying this, aren't you?" I muttered, feeling my jaw tighten. "Life's too short not to," she replied, fingers brushing mine as she passed by. I wanted to groan, but instead, I stayed silent, caught between guilt and thrill. By the afternoon, we were meeting in daring ways. Quick walks, shared lunches, whispered conversations in crowded streets. The tension was electric. Every casual touch, every accidental brush of our hands carried a weight that neither of us could ignore. "Careful, Benedict. You're blushing," she said one day, her grin teasing, playful, dangerous. "I'm not blushing," I replied, even though my ears were burning. "Oh, you are. Don't try to lie to me," she teased, laughing. The sound was like a spark, igniting a guilty thrill I couldn't control. That night, I sat on my couch, Qley leaning against the armrest. My phone buzzed. Miles. He wasn't supposed to be back yet. She gave me a wicked grin. "Relax," she whispered. "He doesn't know. Yet." I tried to relax, but every fiber of my being screamed at me. Miles trusted me. Miles was my best friend, and here we were, playing a dangerous game on his doorstep. When Miles entered unexpectedly, Qley and I froze. I barely managed a casual wave, heart pounding. Miles hummed, oblivious, and left to grab a drink. Qley let out a quiet laugh, brushing her fingers against mine. "Close call," she whispered. "I know," I muttered, heart racing. The next day was full of awkward tension and secret glances. Every time I saw her, every time our paths crossed, I was reminded of the line we were crossing. I tried to focus at work, tried to be normal, but Qley had a way of inserting herself into every thought. At lunch, we sat across from each other, pretending to be casual. Her hand brushed mine under the table, light enough to be innocent, heavy enough to make me swallow hard. "Benny," she said softly, "you know you like this. Don't pretend you don't." "I'm pretending for a reason," I replied, trying to keep the guilt at bay. By day 5, the stakes were higher. Texts, glances, casual touches, everything was charged. I couldn't think clearly. I couldn't eat lunch without imagining her smile. I couldn't walk past a reflection without catching myself staring. She had a way of teasing me, manipulating me without even trying. "You can't resist me, can you?" she asked one afternoon, leaning on my balcony railing as the sun dipped behind skyscrapers. I shouldn't," I muttered, even as I reached for her hand, barely brushing it, feeling the heat that shouldn't exist between us. "And yet, you do," she whispered, a grin spreading across her face. That night, we ended up in the living room, sitting on opposite ends of the couch, pretending to watch a movie. Every laugh, every comment, every glance carried a secret weight. My phone buzzed. Miles again. I tensed, knowing the danger we were in. Qley leaned closer. "He's not going to find out," she said softly, brushing my shoulder. "Not yet." I wanted to believe her, wanted to relax, wanted to pretend this was all harmless, but the guilt was gnawing at me, twisting in my chest. I couldn't escape it. By the end of the week, it was undeniable. Qley had me tangled. My mind was a mess of guilt, thrill, and curiosity. I knew Miles would find out eventually. I knew the line we were walking was thin, fraying at the edges, and yet I couldn't push her away completely. She was a storm I couldn't resist, a challenge I wasn't prepared to meet. We sat together on my balcony in the golden afternoon sunlight, city sounds drifting below. I could feel her smirk in my chest, the tension, the thrill, the inevitable reckoning with Miles. It was all there, tangible, pressing, and that's where it ended, for now. Qley and I, tangled in a web of temptation and guilt, both knowing Miles was closer than ever to discovering the truth. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know if I could survive the guilt. But I knew this: nothing would ever be the same.